Hello, everybody, and welcome to another round of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Don Arliff. Poland is preparing to take over the presidency of the Council of the European Union on January 1st. Prime Minister Donald Tusk and his cabinet are holding key discussions to finalize the priorities and strategy for this important role, signaling a clear shift from the ongoing Hungarian presidency. Now I'd like to welcome Tomasz Zając, analyst at the Polish Institute of International Affairs, to discuss this highly anticipated position for Poland. Hello, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes, now let's start with Hungary. How do you think the Polish presidency is going to differ from that of what we've just seen over the past half year with Hungary?
So to be perfectly honest, this will not be, a difficult task actually to look better than the Hungarian presidency. Actually, it is, I think, it is viewed as a not really good presidency. What we saw was actually a downgrade of the diplomatic level of the diplomats sent by member states. The same happened with the European Commission, who also didn't want to send, high-level officials, and all this because Viktor Orban instrumentalized the presidency. He maybe, to recall to our viewers, he went to this so-called peace mission without having approval from all the other EU member states. He met with Putin. This was really, against everything that the EU was saying about Ukraine. So the consequences were what I've just mentioned, right? The downgrade, the diplomatic downgrade of the level of the Hungarian presidency. So I think a lot of hope actually is put into Polish presidency that, now, luckily, we will have like a serious presidency that will try to deliver tangible results.
Now, the slogan for the EU presidency of Poland is Security Europe. What do you think will be the priorities under this theme?
So the security is the umbrella term for all the priorities. There are 7 pillars, and I think the most important is the defense, but we also have energy security, agriculture security, civil security, etc. So there are 7 main pillars, but like I said, I think the most important and the field in which Poland actually can have the biggest influence is precisely this, defense. I think with all that is happening in the world right now, with new US president, with what's happened in Ukraine, I think European Union is aware that this is an existential threat. Poland and generally the member states from the region were saying that Russia is an existential threat for our security as European Union. So we have to strengthen our capacities, our abilities in terms of defense. And this is what the Polish presidency will try to achieve.
How do you think Poland can innovate in the defense part of the umbrella? Is it joint procurement? What do you think is going to be the major Polish contribution to enhancing defense in Europe?
So to answer that, I think first we should take into account the institutional context of the Polish presidency, because the European Commission and all the European institutions, we are at the very beginning actually of the institutional cycle. So I'm saying this because it's not a very easy position, because usually what the presidency does is to give priority to given legislative acts. And if we take into account the fact that there are not so many actually legislative acts, either they regard defense or any other matter actually, it's not important because, like I said, there's no much legislative acts. But on the other hand, there's this strategic thinking, discussion about strategic priorities that is taking place right now. And I think that this is where Poland will try to influence thinking in European Union. And also another aspect, I think, is the fact that although there's no lot of legislative acts, there are still some. And the example of that is EDIP, so the program for the defense industry in European Union. and there are negotiations ongoing. Actually, there were some hopes that actually the Hungarian presidency will close some part of this file, but this didn't happen. And now Poland will take it over from Hungary. And I think, EDIP, this program, how to boost the industry, the defense industry in the European Union, is a very good example of how actually Polish presidency can try to influence what is happening at the EU level. And the second thing is, it's maybe not so tangible, but I think it's what I've just mentioned, this influence on the strategic thinking. Polish presidency will try to convince partners that we should talk not only about new ideas about the EU defense, but also how to finance them. And they will try to, come up with this. They will try to make this discussion more vivid. Like, where do we take the money for the EU defense? Whether this is, we take from another part of EU budget, or we try to find new resources. This is an open discussion, but clearly Poland will contribute to it.
Certainly. And then energy security is another big one. What do you think Poland will advocate for in terms of energy security for the continent and getting it to wane off still Russian imports of, very limited in gas, but in LNG is still actually quite significant?
Yeah, so clearly decoupling, to use a word that is commonly used in EU bubble. So decoupling from Russia energy is one of the goals actually of Polish priorities, because actually today the main goals of Polish presidency were published, and we can read there that actually not being dependent on Russian energy, and trying to foster this discussion to convince other member states that we should get rid of this dependency from Russia once and for all. That's one of the aspects. So this is one thing. The other thing is also Poland and other countries. Their views are that the prices of energy are too high, and this is also it in a way rhymes with another very important priority of the European Commission, namely the competitiveness. So a lot of member states think that actually the high prices of energy, they don't allow European economy to be competitive compared, for instance, to the American economy, where the prices of energy are lowered. So the idea again is to come up with some kind of solutions how to make energy in Europe cheaper for citizens, but also, like I said, for the European economy to become more competitive.
Certainly, some Donald Tusk has talked about quite a bit. Now, finally, we just have a little bit left, about a minute and a half. The other thing is Ukraine. We've seen this spat between Poland and Ukraine over the Volhynia massacre, saying that this should be put to bed before Poland takes on the EU presidency. So what can Poland do, and what is Poland likely to do now that this issue is being dealt with?
I mean, obviously there are some, differences, sometimes misunderstanding, etc. But I think everybody is aware of the fact that our key strategic goal is to support Ukraine in its path towards EU, and this doesn't change, and this is also in the program for Polish presidency. And actually, so few goals here that are, I think, very telling. First of all, during Polish presidency, Poland wants to open a cluster of chapters in negotiations with the European Union. Also wants to try to get another package of sanctions done. So I think all this show that, even with our differences, clearly the strategic goals are still there, and are they there to stay, and this won't change, I think.
All right, Tomasz Zając, analyst at the Polish Institute of International Affairs. Thank you very much for joining me on World Talks.
Thank you very much.
And that concludes this edition. Thanks for watching, and stay with us for more here on TVP World.